I just wanted to move peacefully into my new home in Washington, but my neighbor, a Karen of the worst kind, decided to make my life a living hell. First, she tried to drive me out of the neighborhood with disguised racism. Then she got mad because I, a black man, put a Trump flag on my door. But when she showed up with a gun to threaten me, the tables were turned in a way she could never have imagined. Do you want to know how this Karen was humiliated and had to move out of her neighborhood? Then watch until the end and get ready to laugh at her face. You know that insufferable person who's totally left-wing? But that's not even the problem. The problem is that this type of person can't see a black person, and they want to be prejudiced. And if you let them, they'll even beat you up for it. They're people who don't want to see the good of our country. On the contrary, it's very difficult to see a left-wing person who's right in the head. It seems like they're all crazy. In my case, it was a little worse. A few months ago, I moved to our country's dream capital, Washington. But what I didn't expect was to see that the left reigns supreme in this city. There are so many militants that it makes me want to vomit. And that's where all the trouble comes in. My neighbor named Mary, but there's no reason for me to call her by her name because she's a Karen. For those who don't know, I'll give you a few examples. A Karen is the kind of person who belittles a worker without any shame. She's that anti-vaccination person, and what made me angrier was the fact that she's racist. That's right. Karens also practice those racist microaggressions, like asking to touch a black girl's hair because her hair is different from hers. That person who follows you around the store because they think you're stealing, and much more. Now that you know what a Karen means, you'll understand that it's the worst kind of person you can be around. But unfortunately, I wasn't so lucky, because as I told you, as soon as I moved in, I ran into my neighbor, and you must be wondering what she saw in me that she didn't want to get off my back. I don't have a child, and I didn't put any flags on the door of my house, but the problem in her view was that I was black. That was enough, and she wanted me gone. But there was nothing she could do, so her move was to try to get me to move out on my own. As I was unloading the truck to put the boxes inside the house, I noticed a blonde woman, a little overweight, coming towards me with her face closed, looking like she'd sucked a lemon.
Where's the owner of the house who's moving out?
Did you hear that? First of all, she didn't say good morning or even ask if everything was all right. Not that I minded, but you can tell a person's character by the way they talk. The way she saw it, I was just a truck driver's helper who was helping to unload the move. Why did she think that? Obviously, because I'm black. I already knew that. After all, what I've seen most in my life is people acting as prejudiced as her. So I decided to play dumb. What do you mean? Who are you? And what do you want with him? After I asked her that, she got a bit embarrassed because she didn't expect me to answer her like that, but I'm already used to dealing with this kind of person, so for me it was just another day. Ignorance is solved with more ignorance.
You're just a dark helper. It's obvious that you don't know who the owner is.
And with that, she began, already showing herself to be a Karen of the worst scum, my hatred already rising. What saved me from going after her was the fact that she had already gone to the driver of the truck. The driver was white, so she asked him more calmly. It was then that he replied, "The owner? The owner is that boy right there that you just insulted." That's when she decided to come marching towards me again. But this time, she didn't call me a black helper.
Why didn't you tell me you were the owner? You like us to be prejudiced, don't you?
That was it. The problem was me for being black, not her for being racist. At that point, I was clear and objective with her, because that Karen girl was getting on my nerves, and I didn't want to see her face anymore, so I asked, "What do you want? If you don't talk, you can leave."
Calm down, I just wanted to see who my new neighbor was, but apparently I'm going to have problems here.
And right after that, she left me talking to myself. What a grotesque little woman. I'd like to send her to the other side of the world. When she arrived at the door of her house, I noticed a democracy flag. which indicates that she is from the left. I don't have anything against it, but for a woman to be left-wing, uneducated, and on top of that, a racist, just indicates that she's not a right-wing person. But what could I do? The only way was to see what would happen. A few days passed, and I got to know the other neighbors more and more. And coincidentally, they all asked me to be careful with her. I thought my neighbors were cute because they treated me with the utmost affection. "Look, my son, watch out for that woman. She doesn't like black people, and every black person who moves into the neighborhood makes a point of going to the afterlife to get the person to move." I thanked the lady for her tip, but what Karen didn't expect was for a person of a completely different mindset to have moved into that neighborhood. From the moment I realized what I was messing with, I ended up with a plan, and the items were as follows: a Donald Trump-only flag and a camera kit for me to put in my backyard. I decided to put the cameras up at night, in case I had any problems before then. So, in the middle of the night, I installed the cameras without any problems. Karen usually goes for a walk around the block every day at 10 o'clock in the morning, so I lay down for a while to rest and set the alarm for around that time. When it was only a few minutes before 10, I decided to start my plan. Cameras on, flag in hand, so let's get started. At 10 o'clock on the dot, she came out, and the first thing she did, she looked around, and in her vision there I was, a black man putting up a United States flag with the new president's face on the front. I could see her turning red from a distance. She left her coffee cup on the stool and came running towards me.
What are you doing? Take it off now.
I didn't understand, after all. She had another party's flag on her door. But I couldn't have one. So I decided to play her game. Because I'm black? That's why I can't put that flag here. She didn't react.
It's not that, silly, but that man's face is not allowed here in the neighborhood. It's a rule we've created among the residents.
She was referring to Donald Trump. I honestly didn't understand. It didn't make any sense whatsoever what that woman was saying, regardless of the situation. That's where the third part of my plan came in, instigating her to take down the flag. So I would have proof with everything filmed, and everything would be fine. So I pretended to be excited and started shouting at her too. "Look, I don't care what you think. At no time did I ask you to take down the Democrat flag you have on your door, Mary." With that, she kept quiet, but I continued. "And you know what? I'm going to put that flag up, and if you think it's bad, just come and take it down."
You know what? I'm going to take it down, and I want to see who's going to stop me.
She said this and went back to her house, as if she was going to get something or call her husband. I didn't think twice, and immediately called the police. "Hello? I'm having a problem with my neighbor. She wants to assault me because I'm putting up a flag outside my house. What's more, she's a racist, too. So be careful who you tell. I'm hanging up. She's on her way." I gave her my address and hung up. Karen was coming towards me, but what she was holding really scared me. I didn't expect a crazy woman like that to have a gun in her house, so she came pointing it at me and asking me to take down the flag. "I'm not going to take it down, Karen. If you want to do that, just come in here and take it down." That's when the plan worked. She wanted to show more power, so in a matter of a second, she had her hand on the flag.
Don't move or I'll shoot you. I'm not joking. I don't want to see you putting that flag up again. Do you understand?
And then suddenly, 2 cars turn the corner quickly. 4 men get out of the car, and one of them shouts, "Put the gun down and get on the ground now." And guess which one was better? All 4 policemen were black. It was only a matter of minutes before the situation was completely reversed. The prejudiced left-wing woman who had been trying to threaten me would now have to deal with the law, not a simple black boy. I'm recording everything, so you can rest assured, police officers, there are 3 cameras installed here in the yard. When I said that, the woman snorted.
What? Let me go. This is a prank, isn't it? These are your relatives and you planned the whole thing. Let me go now and I'll forget about it.
She said this as if she had the power to say anything. She was referring to the policemen as my relatives because they were also black. So even without the police, she couldn't hold back her racist side, which made one of the policemen handcuff her and put her in the car. Then they came to talk to me, wanting to know how long she'd been bothering me, if she'd always acted like that. So I answered by saying that she's always been like this. Most of the neighbors know that she's like this too. But I also said that no one would imagine that a woman like that would have a gun in her house. Then the policeman said, "We're going to take her to the police station, and then we'll see how the situation proceeds. Do you want to go with us? Or do you want to stay in your house, young man? You don't necessarily have to come now, but only if you have a court hearing later on." I chose to stay at home because my head was throbbing after all the confusion. It was a lot of adrenaline, a lot of tension, and, honestly, I just wanted a moment's peace. As soon as the cars left, I thought I'd have some peace. But within minutes, neighbors began to appear from all sides. It was as if the news had spread with lightning speed, and the next thing I knew, there were at least 10 people on my sidewalk, all curious, asking what had happened. I explained everything, from the moment that crazy woman started chasing me to the time she pointed the gun at me and got shot. The neighbors were dumbfounded, exchanging glances, and, to my surprise, no one seemed surprised by what she had done. "My son, that woman has made life hell for a lot of people here, but no one has ever had the courage to stand up to her like you did," said a lady with a relieved smile on her face. "If it had been anyone else, I might have given up and left. But you not only stayed, you put her in her place," commented a younger neighbor, crossing his arms. The best part? Justice was served. The woman had to pay a fine of $2,000, and half of that came straight into my pocket as compensation. It was almost an award for having to put up with this insufferable woman all this time. But anyone who thinks that's the end of the story is mistaken. If Karen thought that public humiliation and imprisonment were enough, she had no idea what was to come. Because when you spend your whole life taking the piss out of others, there comes a time when karma comes to collect, and in her case, it collected with interest. Over the next few days, her house became the main target of the neighborhood kids. It even seemed like a secret mission, because every day, without fail, there was something new going on. If it wasn't a bunch of eggs on the door, it was spray paint with unfriendly messages. The funniest thing? The phrases that appeared on the wall of her house were exactly what she deserved. "Racist, you're not welcome here." The woman cleaned, scrubbed, tried to erase the traces, but it was like wiping ice. The next day, there were the walls all scribbled over again, the door full of dirt, and the whole neighborhood watching from the sidelines. I confess I was surprised at how quickly everyone mobilized to show that no one there was going to tolerate her disgusting behavior. After a few days, Karen herself realized that she wasn't going to be able to reverse the situation. No one would talk to her, no one wanted her there, and with each passing day, it became clearer that the only way out was to leave. And that's exactly what happened. One afternoon, while I was having a coffee on the terrace, I saw a removal truck pull up in front of her house. I smiled. She was finally leaving. The neighbors got together again, but this time to celebrate. Some people even thanked me personally. And so, in just a few weeks, the place became a completely different environment. The atmosphere improved, people seemed more at ease, and all the tension that had existed before disappeared along with Karen. In the end, it was more than proven. She had always been the problem. Maybe they didn't pull a gun on you, but I bet you've encountered someone who wanted to run your life for no reason. Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed seeing this racist get her comeuppance, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Want to see more epic stories like this? Click on the card and come with me to the next video.